everybody, just want to let you know that this video isn't just about presenting my Blu-ray and DVD collection. This is also a little vlog adventure where I built some new bookshelves and transformed a significant part of this room in order to, well, make more room for my collection. So if you just want to see the collection itself, then I recommend you just skip to here and you'll be good to go. But if you would like to know the little journey I went through in order to create this transformation process, then let's start by going back to a week before I recorded this. If you watch my videos and saw me in front of the camera, then there's a good chance that you got a glimpse of what is around my desk. And one thing that stands out is my DVD and Blu-ray collection, in which I chose to surround myself with. And it's not just in here, but even like up here, I also have at least part of my massive collection. However, as much as I would love to show you the DVDs and Blu-rays and even a few 4Ks that I have, there's just one major problem that I currently have right now. And this is unfortunately something that in every collector's life, they must inevitably face. And that is the fact that, well, I don't have much room left for any more Blu-rays and DVDs. You see, I'm pretty much at the point where I have so many Blu-rays and DVDs that now they're starting to be at the point where they can no longer fit in the shelves, and now they're starting to pile up on top of another, which technically, I can work around it, and I mean, if I do this, I still have more room. But the problem is that as a collector, I do not find this to be aesthetically pleasing. And I mean, especially when they are covering like some of the ones in the back. It just, something about this just doesn't work. And for me, it feels like a call that I should do something. And it's not just those ones either. I'm having the same issue on top of my desk where now there are a few that are starting to pile up, and I can no longer fit what's right beside me and fit it on my wall. Like with my Blu-ray of Marcel the Shell with Shoes on, if I want to put that amongst my collection, then I end up having a very hard time because that's when I realize that all these DVDs and Blu-rays are at the point where they're pretty squished up together. I want this in my collection. Come on, get in! Get in! Get in there, you clam! And what's worse is that it's starting to affect my other shelf as well, where it's not just Blu-rays and DVDs that are starting to clutter together, but I'm even at the point where there's just a bunch of other knickknacks as well that are just taking over the space and just creating chaos on my shelves. So at this point, I'm left with two options in order to create new room for my Blu-rays and DVDs. It's either A, I change up my collection where I get rid of some older ones and put in some newer ones, and I would have to go and repeat this cycle again and again whenever I would get new DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that. Or B, I change up a bit of this room so that I create new space for my collection. So here's the plan of what I'm going to do. What I will do is that I'm going to completely renovate this entire area where I will go and put in a corner bookshelf. And when I say a corner bookshelf, I don't mean like getting any regular shelf like this one and I just put it in the corner. Now, what I do mean is that I'm going to take a bookshelf that will literally encompass the entire corner. And thankfully, Ikea actually has one that would be perfect for this room. So I am currently keeping an eye on it to make sure that it will be available, and I would go and immediately grab it so that I can go and make this major renovation to go and include this new addition here. Now, there is a little bit of a catch though, that it is pretty pricey, admittedly. That, and also when I do get that bookshelf, I gotta figure out what the fridge am I gonna do with this bookshelf. But either way, it is a very necessary change that I want to do. And I mean, in many cases, change is actually pretty good. So honestly, I'm ready for that moment. Now, admittedly, I didn't go and immediately bought that bookshelf because, one, I wasn't in a major rush to go and get it, so I did consider that a lower priority. And two, It was the fact that it was sold out, so I don't even have a choice to go and immediately get it anyways. So I just kept an eye on it until the day would come that Ikea would say that it is available near my area and I could just go and grab it. But then suddenly, one day I was just checking it just for fun, and then I made a very interesting discovery. It's actually a combination of many of the other bookshelves that they actually have in IKEA. So that actually turned out to be a massive bonus that instead of buying the entire unit, I could just go and buy the separate pieces in order to create that corner bookshelf, which turns out to be perfect for me because not only would I be able to go and keep the bookshelf that I already have and that I could use it to be part of my new big corner bookshelf, but also I would be saving tons of money by doing that way. So for me, it was a massive win-win. However, there is a little bit of a catch to this, and that is regarding the white large bookshelf that they have in IKEA, because that thing is apparently one of the most popular items on IKEA, one that would often get sold out. So I went and registered on IKEA so that if it is available, they would let me know through email. So I registered and I waited a little bit, and then suddenly, that's when I got the message that it is finally available. I can go to IKEA and I would buy one. So that's when I hopped into my car and I drove myself all the way to IKEA in order to go and actually get the pieces I need in order to make my bookshelf. However...
Well, son of a fish. I'm too late. I mean, I got an email saying that, there are some available, but, no. Apparently white bookshelves are a lot more popular than I thought. Well, on the bright side, I mean, it's not a total loss. I get something out of it. At least I got part of the pieces that I'm looking for. Yeah, don't ask how I'm going to be moving this thing, because, maybe this isn't the most ingenuitous idea.
Oh, well, I might as well go and make the most out of my time there, so even though I didn't get all the pieces, I did get the remaining ones that I did want to go and get. So that's when I decided that, okay, going to IKEA to go and get it is not the best idea, because by the time that I would hop into my car and drive there, it would already be sold out. So instead, I decided I'm just going to go and wait until it's available online. So from there, I can immediately make the order and then it would come to me. Which is also great because when I went to IKEA and I grabbed some of the stuff there, that's when I realized that there's no way in hell that I could go and fit those things into my car. I mean, for the middle small bookshelf, that one turned out to be a massive puzzle to figure out how do I fit that in my car, because keep in mind, I actually have a small car. I don't have a truck that's meant to go and pick up things like that. So, admittedly, I did not really think this entire process through when going to IKEA. But then the time finally came when I saw that there were some available online. And that's when I immediately rushed and I did that order. To which, a few days later, it finally came to my home. And now I finally got everything I need in order to go and make that corner bookshelf. Okay, so now that I got all my boxes here, which I gotta admit are much heavier than I honestly could expect, especially the big ones, I think it is safe to say that we can officially begin the process of transforming my shelves and get ready to start building. I mean, I gotta admit, it's been quite a while since I've waited for this moment, ever since the DVDs and Blu-rays started to overload in my collection, so I know that I am definitely ready for this. So, with that said, let's get started. Okay, so I just finished building the bookshelves, and I will admit some of it was through trial and error, but I will say I'm really happy with getting these all ready. Like, just by looking at them, not only am I happy with what I've built, but also I think it's going to give me more than enough room, so this is definitely the solution to my previous problem. But now that I have built these, now it's time to enter into the next step. Now, this debatably is going to be the hardest part of this transformation process, and that is to actually create the corner bookshelf, to take the old one that I have here and the new ones that I've built, and to completely turn that into a corner bookshelf. But first, however, everything that you see here, it's gotta go. I gotta go and clear out this entire space in order to make the transformation. Well, okay, I don't mean literally that everything here's gotta go. I mean that they cannot be there during this entire process. So everything that's on those shelves and everything in the walls here, they have to leave. So let's begin phase 2. Okay, so with a bit of additional adjustments and some tools to make sure that everything is secured together, I officially have my corner bookshelf. And I know technically from the angle that you see in the bottom, it's not necessarily photogenic, but, and well, especially with how my old bookshelf kind of stands out compared to the new ones that I bought, but then again, I did have to work with what I have and also within my limits because, well, there's the TV that's hung up on the wall that I had to work around with, but you know what? I'm actually happy with how this turns out. Now, all that's left is to just fill these shelves with my stuff, and I mean, considering that they're everywhere, I think it's time we gotta go and put them all back into where they belong. Some at their old place, and some in their new place. So what you just saw there was a montage of only a fraction of the final stage of setting all this up. It was mainly to present how I was just bringing everything back in and putting them on the shelves. Because trust me, it actually took me hours to finalize everything and to make sure that I was happy with the entire setup that is now around me. So with that said, and now that everything in its place, and now that the new setup is officially complete, now we can begin our tour. So let's start with what is around my desk, and the first ones you'll notice are the Disney animated features, which compared to last time, now they are all Blu-rays. And also, technically these would be considered the classics, in which they go from Snow White all the way up to Tangled. Well, that's because in terms of the modern ones, they are actually right over here. They actually continue on to this section where they are also included with the Pixar films. And in case I would want to go and add more into the future, like if there's any new Disney or Pixar movie that I really, really like, then what I would do is just keep on adding to the back. Like a new Pixar film would go in the bottom row, and like whatever is the older one, I would just put behind, or whatever is like the new Disney animated feature I wanted to get, well, then I'll just put it in the pack again. So it's more beneficial in the long run that I have more space whenever Disney and Pixar puts out a new animated feature that I really, really like and that I want to add to my collection. And also, another update I did is actually in the middle. There used to be some movies that I would put onto here, but now I decided to put in some of my biography books, or some of the books that I use for animation look back. Like there's Leonard Maltin's Of Mice and Magic. I have one for the Looney Tunes, Ralph Bakshi, Jim Henson, Don Bluth, and Walt Disney. So this is pretty much a little nod to animation look back that I have on top of me. So moving right along, we also have what is on the side over here. And this one kind of got a little bit shorter than before. It's not because I gave some of them away. It's actually more because I made more room and put some of them onto another place where they would have their own little section. So these are my other animated films that I put in alphabetical order from A to Z, if they're not in a specific category that I've created. So this is just around my desk, but now let's move forward to what I'm excited to the most, and that is to show you what I have amongst my new setup. So let's go and begin with what is right on top. And this one is kind of like the miscellaneous animation stuff, like whatever specials, shorts, or cartoons, I would go and put them all up right over here. And what's right next to them are the live action stuff that I would put on the side. But then when you go right underneath, this is what I would like to call my Universal section. So over here you see these are the DreamWorks movies, and then right next to them I have the Illumination films. And then over here, of course, well, you got Surprise Patrick that I use in one of my videos. And then this is my little corner of the documentaries that I own on home media. And then right underneath, here you have my anime section. So these are all the Japanese animated features that I do own. And then right next to them is the animated series that I own, which honestly is not a lot, I know. And then right underneath, this is actually kind of like a special section for whatever movies or collections that I do have. This is like for anything that's like too big to be a part of my regular collection. I decided like this is going to be my special edition section. Like if they are in like in an unusually large box, sorry for all the stuttering, so they would all go into here, and they don't necessarily have to be just movies. Like I do have like just cartoons with Bugs Bunny, or this one right over here. This is actually the Kid Icarus special edition box. Definitely love the guy, absolutely hilarious. And then there's also like my giant boxes of like Cecil B. DeMille's Ten Commandments, Willy Wonka, and The Wizard of Oz. And then also as a little bonus, why the fridge not? These are my Tsum Tsums. So here I can also move SpongeBob and Patrick that's on the cab. These are all the Tsum Tsums that I've collected. I'm a little bit sad that they no longer have any more, that they discontinued. I really like collecting these. They're not the biggest collection. If you want to see a massive collection, go and ask Logan Miller, because his is phenomenal. And also probably the masterpiece of all this is the Dreamfinder and Figment piece, the little Tsum Tsums of those two with their flying machine. I honestly forgot what it's called. The Dreamcatcher? Yeah. The Dreamcatcher. So, definitely happy to have this. I think I got this for like my 30th birthday, my own present to me. But anyways, let's go now into the middle section. And here we have on top are the cartoon section. So these are all the Walt Disney treasures that I currently own so far. And then right next to them, you got the Looney Tunes Blu-rays and the Tex Avery Blu-rays. So that's just my little corner of classic cartoons that I currently own. And then right underneath, I have my stop motion collection. So these are all the stop motion films that I do have. And yes, I also included Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit Curse of the Were-Rabbit in here. Like, I know technically they're DreamWorks films, but then again, I feel like they are more Aardman than they are DreamWorks. So I feel like it makes more sense to put them in here. And then just underneath that, this is my collection of Studio Ghibli films. So this is where I have, well, technically, you could say this is just about all the Studio Ghibli movies that are made. Technically, the only ones that would be missing here are the upcoming, or as I'm recording this, the upcoming How Do You Live and Ocean Waves. And yeah, don't ask me about Earwig, because I don't know if I want to have that in my collection. All right, but anyways, and moving right down, actually, this is my Muppet collection, or my Jim Henson collection. This is where I have all my movies of the Muppets. I also have the other Jim Henson films like The Dark Crystal, and even some specials like Emmett Otter's Jug Band and Christmas, along with other shows like Dinosaur and Fraggle Rock. And then I have a few other stuff in the middle, like this is where I have some of my art supplies, or pencils, pens, and whatever things I need to go and write or draw and whatever, along with a little Figment collection that I have. I think I got these from my P.O. box a while back. And then, oh, this is a fun fact. Now, technically, this is a project that I did back in college that is supposed to be like an old style camera, but now I use this in order to go and put my suggestions from the animation hat, like all those little papers that I have on the animation hat. When they're not on the hat, they're in this bucket. And this little Cartoon Network box, I use to put the ones that I've drawn, like the ones that I have reviewed already, or the ones that, I would go and review. They would all go in that box. And then, well, technically there are some books here, but I'll show you that a little later. Now, moving right along to this shelf, these are all the series that I own, like the TV shows and the series that I have collected throughout the years. There are some that are like really old and some that you could tell are pretty recent. Oh, and you may have noticed I also have some Funko Pops like in a few places. Like this one is so far like one of my more prized Funkos. This is a Dee Dee signed by the voice of Dee Dee Cat Cressida. Very nice lady, by the way. And then moving a little bit down, this is like my comedy section where I have some old stand-up comic DVDs. Like, trust me, I haven't collected these, or I haven't added any more like in years. So there are those. And then, yeah, my Cousin It Funko. And then moving right along, these are like the Fox shows. Yes, I have one of Cleveland Brown. And then we got the Family Guy stuff. And then these are my Simpson DVDs. I don't have all of them, of course. This is going from 1 to 14, and then I have one of season 20. And then when you go down, these are my live action films. So this is a collection of the live action movies that I do own, and they're almost at the point where they are filling up this entire section over here, but I actually do have a plan because, as you can see, this is actually a pretty large shelf, and if ever there is a case that this does end up if this does get piled up, then what I'll do is that I will go and buy a board where I'm gonna raise this back row, and whatever new ones I will own, I will keep on adding like to here. It's kind of like what I did with the Disney and Pixar films, where I'm gonna have like a back row and then a front row to keep adding on to this collection. So yeah, once again, I'll give you like another good look of all the live action movies that I do own, all in alphabetical order. So just to give you that little look. And also, here, I want to show you something really, really cool. This is actually a Christmas present that I got from one of my best friends recently. And as you can tell, these are all based on my favorite movie, Fantasia. So in the middle, I have a commemorative program. This one is of the 50th anniversary, and there's also another one in the back that's like a slightly older one. But the true prized possessions are actually what are beside it. Like these ones, the Ave Maria one and the one that's regular Fantasia. Now, here's a fun little fact. Those two here are very historical because they are actually released back in 1940 when Fantasia was originally released. And this one especially is probably my most prized possession in terms of books, because this is also the first ever book released by Disney in history that is geared towards adults. So this is actually the first time that Disney put out a book that isn't a children's book. And considering that I do have all this space, by the way, it pretty much gave me more room to put in some books, speaking of which are in the bottom shelf. And this section over here, these are all my art of books. And it's not just of animated films, but there's also like studios such as Pixar and DreamWorks. I also got some of games. And yeah, by the way, like as much as I love this animation gallery by Eric Goldberg, like I really like this book because of like how Eric Goldberg turned Disney characters into Al Hirschfeld drawings. This thing is too freaking big, so that's why I had to place it like this. So I know technically it is relatively small for a collection, but then again, these things are stupidly expensive, where at the cheapest they go for $50. So yeah, and not to mention that a lot of these are actually gifts. So so yeah, like don't expect this to really expand anytime soon. And also another Funko Pop, this time of the Doggo from Pirates of the Caribbean. And then these are some of my other books, are specifically my animation books. So like you got some of the animation essentials like Illusion of Life and Animator Survival Kit, and a few other ones as well. And not to mention like a few that maybe not necessarily animation related, but like they do fit in that, I guess you could say, Animat category, like How to Be a Disney Historian. Yes, a book like that exists. And also an encyclopedia of the Muppets. And also there are some other books I do have over here, some pretty large ones that I decided to put on the side, including this gigantic one, which is my art history book that I had back in college. It's pretty useful, so no point in selling it. Might as well keep it for, for the educational purpose. And yeah, and believe it or not, like there's still a lot more room that I can go and put in. Like this pretty much opened up a lot more space, not just for my DVD and Blu-ray collection or my home media collection in general, but just like in the long run, if ever I get more stuff that I need to put on shelves, that I could just fit it all in. So yeah, other than that, though, that's pretty much... Oh, yeah, and, well, in case you haven't seen it, these are also my collection of fedoras. But other than that, though, yeah, that's pretty much my entire collection that you see here.
And there you have it. That is the current update of my home media collection. And honestly, I'm just very glad that I got my brand new setup for the collection and that I found a lot more room that I could put whatever stuff in, and I know that this is going to be very beneficial in the long run, so overall, I really am happy with all this. So, with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, See you later, dudes!